Hi everyone, and welcome to another video from Class 47 Peter. And today's video is going to be somewhat slightly different, because today I'm going to be looking at something I wouldn't normally look at in a video, so it's going to be slightly different from the norm. It is a magazine, but it's a model railway themed one, so thumbs up for that. And this magazine, it needs no introduction. This is the Milltown Model Railway series, which it's a brand new magazine, which is a follow-up from the Your Model Railway Village, which I think now has come to an end, because I haven't seen it in newsagents or any shops lately. But then again, I never really followed that magazine anyway. I did do a video on the first issue of that one, which you can find on YouTube. And this magazine is basically a follow-up, which is run by the same people who run the Your Model Railway Village mag. However, I should point out that this particular issue I have here is a test launch. It's not actually being officially released yet, and I didn't even know this until I looked on the internet, that this one was a test launch. And the idea behind it is it's just to see really how many of them they sell before they decide to put it out as a general release. And it is only available in two areas, Essex and Scotland. I don't live in either of those areas, so I'm sure you're all wondering now, how on earth have I managed to get hold of this? Well, eBay. There was an issue on there, there was a guy selling a few of them for about £7. The issue to buy itself is basically £3, £2.99. So I paid about £4 more for it, but it's not really that much different really in price, except it's £4 more. And so I bought it on eBay, and I only had to wait one day for it before the day after it came. However, this is not going to mean that I'm going to start getting every issue of this. This is just going to be a one-off, pretty much like the Your Model Railway Village series. It is going to be interesting though to see how this magazine turns out, because I wasn't impressed with the Your Model Railway Village mag. In my own honest opinion, I think it was a bit naff. The magazine fell apart, the track broke. I think I dropped it on the floor and then it broke, I can't remember, but it did break. And the coach itself, the Mark 1 that he got, well, when I first had it, it broke, then I repaired it, and then it broke again. And that explains why you've seen the body of that coach on one end of the layout, because I wasn't going to keep repairing it, and to be honest, I think the second time it broke, I couldn't repair it anyway. So I put it to a different use altogether and just had it as a grounded coach body. But then again, the quality was a bit cheap really, so it's going to be interesting to see what the quality of this magazine is going to be like. And the main reason why I've got hold of this issue mag is for one reason, and that's for the brake van that you get with the magazine. I know some people might think, oh, isn't that a bit of a waste of money? But think about it, it is worth it getting it for just the brake van, because when Your Model Railway Village came out, people were buying that for the sake of the coach. In fact, I think people bought several of them to get more than just one coach. So I think people might probably start doing it with the brake van, which, you know, it's a good thing in a way, because, you know, think about it, it's £2.99, that's actually quite cheap, and it's a bargain as well. So in this magazine we get the brake van, of course, and a straight piece of track. And of course we have the magazine itself. Well, obviously it's a magazine issue, so that's what comes with the magazine. Now on the front of this big giant piece of card that the magazine, the two items you get are attached to, it's a bit boring on the front, but when you turn it to the back, it is a bit more interesting. On the back you get what comes in the next issue, which is a straight piece of track and a curb bit of track, and some bits for a score, which are wars and a few other parts. And we also get a picture of the layout when it's finished. But I don't think it's going to look as good as it does in the photograph when you've basically built it, to be honest, but there we go. But the first thing we're going to do is to take the magazine off. I know that was easy to do, but that was because when I got it in the parcel, they had to, the people who sent it basically took the magazine off the card back in order to fit it in the parcel it came in. but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. And it's wrapped in this plastic wrap, which we'll take it out of in a minute. So there's the magazine, and then we will take out the brake fan and the piece of track out by just ripping away the piece of card, and we'll put them to one side. So we'll chuck away the giant piece of card because it's not going to really be needed. And we'll put the brake van and the straight piece of track to one side for now, and we will look at the magazine first. And we'll save the best till last, as they say. So first we're going to take out the magazine out of this plastic wrap. I'm hoping this magazine is going to be better quality than the magazine that you got with the Your Model Railway Village series, but we'll see. So I'll just take out the magazine and we'll throw away the plastic wrap, and we can now look at what we get with the magazine. But before we look at the magazine, we've got some other bits and pieces to look at first that you get. So first of all we have this, which on the back tells you the free gifts you get if you subscribe. So with issue 3 you get a Modeller's Toolkit and the Jaguar SS 2.5 Saloon, which looks very nice, but you could probably just buy it from Oxford Rail yourself. But anyway, so with the second delivery you get a binder and dividers for all the magazines, and with the fourth delivery you get the Austin 7 RN van, which is the LMS model. Then, if you do the premium subscription, which is £2 extra per each issue, they actually do give you 2 models from Batman and the Cork Underline, some electric wire. And the models you get, there's an LMS G2A Super D and the LMS Black, which I do actually have this model myself, not just in this livery but the actual running number of it, 9376, which I'm sure you all know about that if you've seen the review. And also a Ginty as well, and interestingly Your Model Railway Village did a very similar thing with another Batman Ginty, except that one was in the BR Early emblem. I don't have the Ginty in this livery, but I do have the Batman Ginty in BR Early emblem. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it says that you receive these models if you do the premium subscription, which is only £2 per issue, but I think there's probably a bit of a catch to it. I think they might give you an offer for it. Interesting with the Ginty though, on the front cover they've actually removed the number of it. And yet on the model on the back of that pamphlet it shows you with the number, so I don't know why they've done that, but there we go. It also tells you again what you get with the next issue, even though we already know that. So inside you just get what's in your magazine, which tells you about a few articles. Nothing much of interest there, and it also kind of gives it away as well a bit. But when you fold it up you do get a large printout of the layout. When you've built it, that is, and all the bits you get. But as I said before, it's probably not going to look as good as it shows in the photo, and also you will probably find you'll have to buy some other bits for it, because you probably might not get all of them with it. Then you get the magazine itself, of course, which will look in a bit, and then you get this. Make sure you don't miss out at your newsagent now, even though that this one is a test issue and is only available in Scotland and Essex. But there we go. I will not be subscribing to this magazine, so we'll get rid of that little leaflet and put it in the bin. And now we can look at the magazine. So now we can look at the magazine. So we'll open up the first page. Oh, well, remember when I said earlier about how I hope this magazine will be better quality than Your Model Railway Village one? Yeah, the first page is just torn off, and that's not brilliant, but it's just the content on it really, so it's not interesting. This article is just basically getting started and the parts you get supplied with this particular issue. And it's also giving you ideas, instructions for this magazine and how to build a model railway. And you get a nice photo there. Interestingly, it does says that with this magazine issue by issue you get pieces of track, wagons and a brake van. I wonder if that could be something to do, perhaps when an issue comes out with a wagon. I wonder if it would be worth getting that. I don't know, we'll have to see about that. And then you've also got an article on getting set up. And yeah, the next page has fell off. So as you can see, the magazine itself, it's not brilliant quality at all, because the pages are just falling off. I mean, what are they using to stick this magazine together? PVA? I don't know. You get some nice photos though, which are very nice, and you get a few bits of information about each photo as well, and little techniques and effects. And on this page it tells you about the tools that you can use to build the layout and various other bits, and also talk about paints as well, acrylic paints, so to speak, and also they mentioned about adhesives as well. So that's the boring stuff out the way. Now we get on to the more exciting stuff. On this page it's talking about Shipburn Milltown. Never heard of it, but it's just basically telling you how to add realism. And on this page, yeah, as you can see there, that page is starting to fall off, but on this page it's talking about Mallard and the A4s and also the speed record, and just look at that. That is a beautiful piece of artwork, that is, of Mallard with the dynamometer car, because this actually was the test train it pulled during the speed record, which has never been broken to this day. And I do like this little feature about how they're talking about the class of locos. There's the plaque that it carries for the speed record, but in your modern railway village I was actually doing article features in each issue for preserved railways. In this one they're actually talking about a class of locomotive, which is good. I like that. Always can see get some other things in here. This is a questionnaire, which I don't think they ever did for your modern railway village, so this is quite interesting. But I'm not going to be bothering with that really, but you can if you want to. You don't know, it's entirely optional. And then when you do the questionnaire, you can just post it off to them. So yeah, there's that out of the way. And then you get this, another leaflet to do the subscriptions and stuff you get. We already know that. But you do get a little form as to sign away for them. But again, I will not be subscribing to this magazine series. But there we go. But it's there for you to do it. And on the back it tells you about this bit of information on each item. And they do actually, with the G2 and the G2, actually give you a bit of history on the real locomotives, which is nice they've done that. And you can see there is a website for this magazine series. I have been on the website, so it's there for you to check it out if you want. But now we get back to the magazine. And on this page it does talk about the Coronation Scott speed record, and there is a bit about Flying Scotsman as well, and the speed records it has achieved. Well, it's not just achieved speed records, it also achieved another famous run in Australia that wasn't a speed record, but it was basically a non-stop sort of run. Yeah, as you can see, the page is just literally falling apart. There's also a technical advance on the A4 modifications and a real photo of Mallard when it actually wasn't steam. It also tells you about the original Pacifics that were built as well. And a little did you know fact about driver Joe Duddington, who was 61 years of age when he took to Mallard and the record breaking them. And then on the next page there is a feature on the technical specifications and the face of the A4s, and you do get a picture of all preserved A4s lined up together, which is from the Great Gathering, which I never attended, but there we go. And then there's an article feature on the canals. Before we had steam locomotives, the transportation of goods was much slower, and it was done by the canals. So this was before we had the railways, basically, and it talks you about the canals and how those developed and all that, technical advances and stuff. It also tells you about the textile industry and the Arkwright's frame, whatever that is. And it also talks about the working week of the canals and the coming of the canals and all that. You get a nice picture of the canal there as well. And on the next bit, there's an article about the people and the places built Bridgewater. You do get some nice photos there as well. which adds to the interest. And there's an article here about the canals lead the way, which tells you about the development of them basically. And a picture of a canal boat. And on the back, it tells you about how the railways took over. Well, there's a little bit that mentions it. Telling you about how from the 1840s the development of steam power meant that the railways began their own era. So goods wasn't taken by canals then. It also tells you about a feature about how locks work as well. So that's the magazine covered, which all the pages have fell apart. And I'm going to be honest with you, the quality of this magazine, it's not very good. Well, the magazine itself, because every page has fell apart. I mean, why they can't just use staples on the bind of the magazine to hold it together is beyond me. I know this is a cheap magazine, but I've had other magazine issues before. Every first magazine is cheap, and the quality of their magazines have been better than what you get with this. So it's beyond me why these people can't do the same for this magazine issue, but there we go. And now we've saved the best till last, which these items don't need an introduction, so we're going to open them up. I'm going to use a Stanley knife just to gently take away the bit of plastic to pry it apart, which will help to take that bit of plastic off the card sheet. Do be careful when using Stanley knives though, kids. Get a grown up to help you. Okay, so with the card piece now torn off, we are going to first take a look at the piece of track. And what I'll do then is I'll look at the brake van last. Well, this piece of track is actually quite good quality. And I think it's Hornby track. It doesn't say Hornby written underneath it, but what they're doing is basically getting the manufacturer to manufacture this piece of track for them. You do get fish plates, one on each end. So I'm pretty sure this track is made by Hornby. It doesn't say that, but you know, the main manufacturer makes it. I mean, I don't need this piece of track, to be honest. I have no real use for it on the layout, and I actually do have a box of track already under the workbench as we speak. There is some nice detail on the sleepers though. It is a bit hard to see, but it is there. But I might find some future use for it. I don't know yet, I could do. But we'll see, because I might have an idea for it. But this piece of track is better quality than the Your Mother Railway Village one, because at least this one has not broke apart. Which is nice. See, it's a nice bit of track. But for now I'll put that to one side, because like I said, I'm not going to really have much of a use for it. Now we're going to take a look at the brake van, and this is where I'm going to go into review mode with this brake van. Now, one thing I will say about the brake van before I start talking about the detail on this. This is a brake van that has been made by Bachmann. Now, I know it doesn't say on the model underneath that it's made by them, but there is one little thing that does, in a way, kind of give it away that it is made by Bachmann. Because Bachmann do make this style of brake van. Hornby have made a similar one, but this particular type of brake van is made by Bachmann. But it's the couplings for me that are a giveaway, because they are the older couplings that Bachmann used to use when they first started making models. These are the couplings that you screw into place that actually have the spring mechanism on them, where the hook is. And these are also the chunky plastic ones that have that big, thick, plastic, chunky coupling hook. And these are the sort of couplings, like I said, that Bachmann once used when they first started making models for railways. So that kind of tells you in a way that this is a model made by Bachmann. It's also worth talking about the wheels actually, because they are in fact made of metal. I know they don't look like they're made of metal, but trust me, they are. I wouldn't expect it, to be honest, in a magazine worth £3, considering it's quite cheap, but yeah, there are metal wheels on it, so that's actually really nice, that is. And the metal wheels are better than the plastic wheels. But for the brake van itself, considering it came in an issue that's worth £2.99, the detail is not lacking. There is a lot of detail on this model, and it's a much better quality model than the Mark 1 coach. Which I've got to be honest, if they could bring out a high model detail like this in a magazine that's at the price of $2.99, then why couldn't they do the same with the Mark 1 coach? I don't know. But it is a bargain this, to get a brake van that's worth £3 at that price in a magazine and it has all this detail on it. That is brilliant. It's even got the number of the brake van and the amount of tons it has printed on the side, because with the Mark 1 they never even printed the logo on the sides, nor did they print the numbers of the coach on, so it's quite nice that they've actually done that. And you do have LMS lettering as well printed on the side again, which is a brilliant feature, because again, like I said with the Mark 1 coach, they didn't even put the logos on the coaches, and yet they have actually written LMS on the sides of this brake van, and that's fantastic. And you also get some separately fitted handrails, and I say separately fitted because they are separately fitted, as you can see in this photo here. They're not metal though, they have used engineering plastic for the handrails, but that doesn't matter because they're still separately fitted and they look brilliant. And the fact that they're painted white, it makes them stand out more on the livery of the brake van. I know the roof is a bit boring to look at, but it's quite nice all the same, and there is a nice little separately fitted smokestack there. The smokestack itself could do with a bit of painting, to be honest, though. We've also got some more separately fitted handrails on the ends of the doorways of the brake van, and also in the doorways themselves we've got some more separately fitted handrails in the middle of them, which is a nice bit of detail to have. And that's something that you wouldn't expect really with a model that comes in an issue that's worth £2.99. In reality, I think they might fold back to allow the guard to walk in there, because otherwise I can't see how he's going to get into the brake van. So I think in reality they fold back somewhat to allow the guard to get through into the brake van, unless he has to duck under them, I don't know. But they're there anyway, and it's a nice bit of detail to have. We've also got some nice floorboard detail there inside the brake van, and check this out, there's even glazing in the windows, and that is just brilliant, because again that's something I didn't expect to see, and it's there, and that's just ace. It's not devoid of moulded detail though. The lamp irons are moulded on the ends of the brake van, and so are the brackets that hold the bits of wood, the wooden body, together to the frames of the brake van. And even the lamp irons on the sides of the brake van, they're moulded as well, but it's not too bad otherwise. I mean, at least the lamp irons are there, and also, even though they are moulded, they actually stick out a little bit, if you know what I mean. Now the livery is quite nice, but it does have that cheap feel to it. You know, essence of the plastic they've used, it does have that cheap quality, and you'll notice that when you do really look at it up close. But you know, what do you expect in a magazine for $2.99? But you know, having said that, it's still a nice model otherwise, and the livery application, it's quite nice as well. It's just that the plastic gives it that cheap look almost, but all the detail on this model, it more than makes up for that. We do get some little hooks on the buffer beams as well, and they're not the best, I've got to be honest, but they're there anyway, which is nice to see, because otherwise they might not have even put some on in the first place. You've even got a lamp added on the one end of the brake van as well, and that is a good bit of detail to have, because I've never seen any of the manufacturers do it, and it's a great bit of detail to have because it makes the model look more realistic, especially when it's on the end of the train, because that lamp there is the tail lamp and it shows that the train is complete. And what I do like especially is that they've even painted the inside of the lamp red to show it's a tail lamp, so that is a brilliant bit of detail to have. Some slight repair work did have to be carried out though on this model. As you can see in this photo, the platform is bent, and I call it the platform because it's what the guard steps onto, and there's a step above it for him to basically get inside the brake van. In this photo here you can see that that has now been fixed, and basically it was something quite simple really. A little part of the detail on the platform had popped out, and so that's why it was bent basically, so I had to fix it back into place, and also the step above it had also come away as well, and so I had to glue that back on. But you know, it's perhaps not expected to see, well, unexpected I should say rather, but there we go. But it's nothing major, it's nothing that's going to prevent the model from being run on the layout, as it was in the case with the Mark 1. So all in all, for the price at £2.99, this brake van is a fantastic little model, considering all the detail it has on it. It will be getting the modelling treatment though. I will be adding a few brake pipes on it, as well as removing the coupling on the end as the lamp, because if you couple the wagons on that end and have the end that doesn't have the lamp as the end of the train, it's not going to look right. I also might paint the smokestack, and I also might add a guard in this brake van. I did do it on one of my other brake vans, on one of my towed brake vans. I've added a guard in, and it's the only brake van I've done it to, so I might do it to the others, and I might do it to this one as well actually. You could also weather this brake van if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do it. But I will be detailing this up, and I also will add a chain link coupling as well onto it, on the end as the lamp, to give it a bit more detail. And now as an added bonus, I've thrown in some footage of the brake van running around the layout behind a goods train hauled by the LMS G2A Super League. Quite fitting considering it's an LMS livery and the brake van is also ours. But also, this Super D model 9376 is the one that's being given away by the magazine, if you are a premium subscriber that is. So very fitting to use the Super D to pull the train with the brake van on. And so that brings an end to this video. So what are my overall thoughts on it? Is it a better magazine than Your Model Railway Village? And is it worth getting? Well, this is where it's going to be sort of mixed, because in terms of the quality, in regards to the magazine itself, it's not great. Every single page, as you saw, they fell apart. And that's not good, especially because they're going to be, if you're a subscriber, they're going to be giving you binders and folders to put these magazines in, and you know, are they going to be really of much use if these magazines are just going to fall apart? I mean, I know it's a magazine at £2.99, but every magazine issue starts at a cheap price. And I've had other magazine issues in the past, and the magazines have been better quality because they've used staples to hold the pages together. So the people for this magazine could have done the same. So the magazine itself is not great quality, but the brake van and the track are. You know, the brake van itself is better than the Mark 1 you got with Your Model Railway Village, and the track is better quality as well. I know that's based on my own personal experience with it, but it's still better. Now, is this magazine worth it? Well, yes, I think it is worth it, even if it's just for the brake van, because it really is a superb, highly detailed model, and it's worth getting, because you can also detail it up more and weather it. You could even repaint it if you wanted to, but it's a nice addition to your layout. So yes, I do think it's worth it, and so I recommend you getting it. I know this one is a test issue, but if you can get one, then get one, because at some point I'm assuming it's going to be a general release, and when that happens, go out to the shops and get one, because it really is a great model to have. So that's all we've got time for in today's video, and so this has been Class 47 Peter reviewing the first issue of Milltown Model Railway magazine, and I'll see you again soon. But until then, take care.